Red Pill Me on CERN and the God Particle. It is a front for a time machine research project using Kerr black holes that has been going on for decades. Continuation of Operation Paperclip and the underlying Nazi research into space and metaphysics. I used to work for CERN, but I would eat people's lunch during break, so I got fired after being caught after 7 months. Great benefits, that place. They gave me the movie The Mist on DVD first week there. Probably just racing bicycles on shrooms all day to hardstyle. They're gonna fire up the LHC for Run 3 in March/April. They'll cause time to reset. You truly are a dumb fuck, huh? I have 2 God Particles in my possession. I snuck them before getting fired. Who's the retoid now? How would that happen? Would some of us experience it? Interdimensional demons disguised as aliens. Cryptocurrencies working to calculate, if possible, millions of VGAs working for one bigger and somber purpose. Good conspiracy theory material to freak out schizos, Demons waiting anxiously to the CERN portal to open so they can have free access to our dimension and then can slaughter humans freely. There's a collage shop here in town, owned by a Czech family. They serve badass traditional Czech collages, pick related. Buy an assortment. Remember the fairies love bread and cheese and milk. Take a cream cheese collage and leave it out in the garden. Return the next morning, collage is half eaten. Next to it is a hand-scrawled note. This shit nasty. Lol. Next day I wake up with sores all over my body. The fairies strike again, and that's how I learned that the Fae have pleb tastes in food, and that one must under no circumstances give them cause for offense. 2 years ago, browsing X, ask about how to possibly attract Fae spirits. Anons tell me that the Fae like nice gardens. They also like gifts of butter and milk, so I cultivate a little garden. Mainly flowers, but also some veggies. Keep it very neat. Always leave out a little saucer either with butter or milk. Even thank the fairies with a little prayer every day. Sometimes I feel watched when I'm working in the garden. Could be my imagination, whatever. Then one night it begins to storm. Severe winds. I'm worried my garden will get destroyed. Wake up the next day. The wind from the storm knocked over trees and power lines. There are huge tree branches in the middle of the road. My backyard is a total fucking wreck. Debris, leaves, sticks everywhere. Except for my garden. Looks totally untouched and pristine. No debris in it whatsoever. I also grew the biggest cucumbers and peppers that I've ever grown in that garden. I stopped doing the milk and butter thing, though, because I started thinking it was fake. Should have kept up with it. Walking home from friend's house, the one across the woods. Took the road cause don't have to go through the woods. Lily back road that winds through the hills. Big related. Longer than walking through the woods, but doesn't require trespassing. Using a walkie-talkie to talk to my mom because children didn't get cell phones back then. The signal was really shitty and came in and out. Mom is mid-sentence when she cuts off. Deep horrifying voice comes in. My mind and my bowels are both simultaneously evacuated. Threatening as fuck. Cry like a bitch to my mom. She didn't even hear the voice. Ask her to come pick me up. She sends stepdad out on the four-wheeler. He's pissed when he gets there, and I cry the whole time I'm waiting for him. Literally could not tell you what the voice said. I know it said something directly to me, but it's been so long. It was so traumatizing to my tiny underdeveloped brain that I cannot remember any of the words. Only that it was very masculine/gravelly voice, maybe even demonic, and that I took whatever it said as a threat. My best guess is something about the lines of, I'm gonna come find you, / I know where you are, and I'm gonna kill you / gut you. Hell, I might have even used my actual name, thinking back on it, as hard as I can. I've always rationalized that it was someone listening in on the same frequency, deciding it would be really funny to fuck with me, but no idea why my mom wouldn't have heard it. I know it wasn't my stepdad, though, cause he's never been that kind of guy. I once stayed in a relatively remote cabin with my parents on a Georgian mountain. My parents said that they were going to check out a hang gliding spot at the top of the mountain, but I was playing outside and didn't want to go. 5 minutes after they left, I decided I did want to go with them. Being a dumb shit preteen from Florida, I figured I could just walk up the mountain on a random trail behind the cabins and find them. The trail began wide enough, almost a first road cleared and packed earth for easy walking. The path snaked along through the hard woods, winding upwards, but it had no turns, so I wasn't scared of getting lost. Further down the way, the path began to grow narrow. Trees and brushes gathered inward, and the graded and packed earth transitioned into rock and clay. It was little more than a footpath now, heavily wooded on either side. I passed an abandoned wooden barn or shed, an entire structure leaning, brown with age, and partially destroyed. I was curious, but decided not to look around it further, so I continued on. Abruptly, the small footpath opened to a red clay clearing, like a gash in the forest floor, and I'm very confused to find an absolutely pristine condition classic car parked dead center. I don't even give two shits about cars, but this thing was pure perfection. 1960s Dodge Dart, paint job blue as the sky, clean enough to reflect the clouds, bumper rims gleaming spotless, cream canvas top, and inside I saw a black vinyl bench seat, and a man in the driver's seat. The area is small, friendly, southern hospitality type town, so I'm not scared. More in awe of how amazing this car is. I look at the man and smile, realizing I have probably wandered into someone's property. The man is dressed kind of funny, a dated black suit and fedora hat with dark sunglasses. Again, though, it's kind of a podunk place where people are behind on fashion, so I pay this no mind. I smile and wave, and he smiles and waves back. I approach the man to engage in some casual, "Sorry, I'm lost, nice car." But as I step towards the car, I hear something large rushing through the leaves in the woods behind me. I turn and see absolutely nothing. Shrugging it off, I turn back to the car and the man, but it's not the same. The car is beyond disrepair, absolutely rotted away by the elements. Not a speck of paint remains on it. The entire thing is completely brown and rusted down to the bumpers and rims that 2 seconds ago reflected the entire forest. The canvas top, mildewed and torn open, bench seat rotted to shreds, exposing rusted springs and dirty foam. I look around to see there is no road to the clearing, no possible way the car could have got here. The man is nowhere to be seen. Needless to say, I'm pretty spooked. The forest is eerily quiet, suddenly, devoid of birds and cicada song. I'm truly alone. I decide I've been walking long enough to be closer to the mountain top, where my parents are, than the cabin, so I continue forward, now at a hurried walk. As I continue, I pass strange rusted machinery, equipment, something that looks like a giant metal funnel, oil drums, and other metal scraps. The only sound I heard besides my own footsteps was the buzzing of flies. One or two at first. I pick up my pace, desperate to find my way to my parents. As I continue deeper, the buzzing is louder than my footsteps. All I can hear, but I see no flies. I stop in my tracks as I smell something very dead. The smell of rotting flesh is overpowering. I gag and try not to vomit, still bombarded by the droning buzz of flies. I feel dizzy suddenly. I look around and see no animal corpses or flies anywhere. Fear hits me like never before, and I run back the way I came at full speed, never stopping until I reach the cabin. When my parents and brother arrive, it's dark out. I tell them what happened, and they all brush it off. I tell them I will take them there tomorrow. The next day, I take them on the same path. There is only one path with no turns. It's wide and leveled and makes a circle. We circle 3 times before everyone writes me off as being imaginative. The path never narrows. We never find the old shed or clearing. I continue circling after everyone has given up. I never find that clearing again. I can't explain it. I don't know what happened, but I promise you it was real. Charlie Noonan's last interview. Charlie Noonan was an amateur folklorist who traveled through the South and Southwestern United States during the early years of the 20th century, collecting tall tales and stories of the supernatural. According to his wife Ellie, Charlie was told a story one day by an Oklahoman farmer about a strange woman who lived alone on an isolated property in the Panhandle. The farmer claimed the woman was not a woman at all, but something else, something that hid its true nature beneath a headscarf, and was never seen without a large dog by its side. Noonan was apparently intrigued enough to try searching for the woman during one of his research road trips. He was never seen again. Ellie Noonan was later contacted by a Tulsa pawnbroker who remembered reading about her husband's disappearance in the papers. After finding his name engraved on a camera sold to him by an itinerant, the pawnbroker returned the camera, and Mrs. Noonan had the film inside developed in the hopes of finding a clue as to his whereabouts. This was the only photo on the roll. Unfortunately, neither the location of the property nor the name of the farmer who told him the story was recorded in Noonan's notes. Be me, 17. Uncle is letting me stay at his old farm for the weekend, just outside of this small town, relatively quiet and lonely place. Huge open fields surrounded by woods. There's a grain silo and the barn with a few animals, chickens, 2 turkeys, a goat, even a peacock somehow. He drives into the city for the weekend to sleep with this girl he's into. Anon, I'm leaving you the place. Just make sure to feed the animals once a day, and if you drink all the beer, pay for it. Kinda winks at me. CoolUncle.jpg. Of course, invite friends and some girls over for drinking and romantic country walks. Also GoldenEye, because fuck yeah. There's me, Eric, Robert, and Jeremy, along with Ellie, Diane, and Jessica. Super into Diane. 8 out of 10 Hispanic Asian chick. Weirdest boner. So we start drinking, messing around the garage. I tell everyone we should go to the barn and get up at the top area and fuck around. We get up there, bring some food and some beer, start talking, get in a big circle. Diane sits right next to me. Boneralert.avi. Everything's normal at first. We start sharing ghost stories. She starts telling us about La Llorona or whatnot. Crying ghost lady. Mildly spoopy. But she has a cute little mouse voice, so it loses atmosphere. Her head kind of falls on my shoulder. There's one of those hanging workman's lamp things lighting up the barn. I don't remember what they're called right now. Everyone's kind of silent, just thinking, sipping at their beer, or murmuring. I start to smell this disgusting smell like rotten meat dipped in perfume. It was sick but sweet. I push it off as dead mice or something stupid. I was kind of an idiot at 17. Put my arm around Diane, ask if anyone wants more beer. Offer to go back to the house to get it. Sure. One of my friends, probably Robert. Get up, brush myself off, and head for the ladder to get down. The fucking ladder is missing. Too annoyed to be scared, turn and ask who messed with the ladder. Everyone looks genuinely mystified at the missing ladder. Shrug. Decide it probably fell down and I can't see it. Figure I'll just drop through the hole, brace myself for the drop, and put the ladder back up on the way back. I get to the edge of the hole, smell that gross fucking smell again, and almost stop, but don't want to look like a pussy. Drop my feet through the hole, start to lower myself down, when I feel something wet smack against my exposed ankle. Push myself back up, so fucking fast, with the bitchiest yelp I've ever made or heard, scrambling away from the hole. What's up? Probably fucking Robert again, wasn't in the mood. Either the turkeys have super long wet necks now, or there's something down there that grabbed my leg. Very funny, Anon.bmp. I'm fucking serious, assholes. I kick my leg out to show them where the guy, or whatever, touched me. There's this brownish reddish goop on my ankle. It's sticky and smells like that rotted meat put on display at the department store from before. What is that, Anon? One of the girls ask. I have no idea, so I shake my head. Tell them I'm gonna chill up here for a bit, and someone else can head down if they want. Eric gets up to take a look, but is obviously frightened as fuck, like he should be. That smell is hanging around, thick and cloying. He looks down the hall to the ground level and backs away slowly, and that's when we hear it. Everyone freezes. Ellie is all over Eric now. Everyone is too afraid to move. The voice was flat and slow, like some sort of fucking mongoloid trying to figure out how to into woods. He keeps repeating it, the sound slowly changing over time. We're huddling up together. Everyone's here, so we know there's no one fucking with us, and my uncle doesn't have any neighbors for miles. Who fucked with the ladder? Everyone turns to look at me. That was my fucking voice, what the fuck? Shake my head vigorously and realize the creature was practicing with my voice, and is now saying other things in my voice, catching on to the speech way more quickly than before. None of us have cell phones because this is the late-ish 90s, so we couldn't really call the cops or anything. We're all just kind of huddled up together, trying not to talk because hearing it say things we have already said is extremely disconcerting. Silently thankful it was stupid enough to remove the ladder. The smell starts to fade slowly, and I figure it's gone by the time the stench is gone. Get balls of steel out of nowhere. Decide we should all drop down and make a break for the house. Everyone sort of agrees. Jeremy and Jess don't want to be left alone, so they end up agreeing. The 8 of us all collect around the hole and take a peek. We don't see anything but some smears of that reddish goop on the floor. Push it to the back of my mind. Decide I'll go first. Drop down. Wave everyone down. We were all sort of uncoordinated and fucked up from what beer we'd had, but thankfully it wasn't much. Everyone's down in a few moments. We grab hands like 5-year-olds and start to walk to the house at a brisk pace, not wanting to draw its attention and not wanting to trample each other like retards. We then hear this wet fucking smack on the concrete floor of the barn. Fuck this, nope, done. Everyone starts to run, barely holding on to each other's hands. My hand slips from Diane's for a moment, but a strong, warm hand grabs it again, and no one calls out like they're lost. All 8 of us return to the house. Wait, 8? Me, Eric, Jeremy, Robert, Diane, Ellie, Jessica. That's... Everyone seems to realize this and nopes the fuck out. Looking at everyone else, there were only 7 of us again. I wanted to puke when I realized it wasn't Diane's hand I grabbed the second time. But for some reason, it didn't follow us into the house. Maybe it wasn't a fan of late 70s decor. I don't fucking know. We scramble through the living room. I stop and grab my uncle's compound bow and a few arrows from the display cabinet for some reason. As if I'm gonna knock a fucking arrow and kill this fucking X-Files motherfucker when I haven't even gone hunting in over a year. Everyone piles up into the kitchen. It's raised up and away from the living room and kinda looks out onto it, where the main door is. I sit and watch over the sink, fingers fucking trembling. Barely able to hold the fucking $1,000 bow in my hand. Might as well have been a paperweight. We hear this wet smacking and thudding against the front door. The screen door shaking as well. It's asking in my voice and others now to be let in, slowly stringing together words from other sentences. It has heard to make its own. It stops after a while and we start to calm down. I go to find the phone. While I'm doing this, I hear this soft tapping on glass. I freeze and spin around. This jerking, twisting amalgamation of flesh, wearing a mix of all of our faces, is tapping almost politely at the sliding glass door of the patio. I lose my shit and I almost go to draw and shoot, but Something tells me it can't enter the house without being invited. I inch away, slowly. His eyes are following me up to the kitchen, and it stares at me, just tapping and tapping. We all keep a watch, but it can't really do anything, so it jerks, slithers, shifts away and tries the front door again, and continues until light of the morning. We all said fuck it the next day. I left the bag of feed open for all the animals, and we drove to Robert's house and camped out in the basement for Saturday and Sunday. My uncle acted pretty weird when I brought it up, and moved out 2 months later. We never spoke again. I think he tried to sacrifice me to it or some fucking shit.